our ancestors were enslaved, that means that we come from slaves. Being enslaved don't make you a slave.
I mean, it don't make you free either. Being enslaved meaning or means you're not free, right? If you're enslaved, if let's just say, for example, if somebody is in jail, does that make them free? No, 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 no. So if you're enslaved, then you're not free. So what are you talking about? Let's double back. Let's
And
get
fighting for your freedom were enslaved. That means you got a lot of so-called indigenous Americans who think that because our ancestors were enslaved, that means that we come from slaves. Being enslaved don't make you a slave. And fighting for your freedom means that you didn't go out like a punk. You fought for it. So every time you hear them say, well, I don't come from a slave.
and this is 1863, right? This is what a year or two before the so-called slaves are freed. So which one is it? Were you the slave and you didn't have nothing, or were you the African that was getting residuals, payments, and land? Which one is it? So unless the white people was the rich African and you're the poor African, it make sense.
Your peoples come from my peoples were enslaved and they fought for their freedom. Nothing was given to them freely.
So if you're saying that your people were enslaved, who was their slave master? Because don't just give us some shit from 18 90 or the 1900s. No, go back. You have to show proof that your people are African. You have to show proof that your people come from slavery. You have to show that. You can't just say, okay, it says that the owner is such and such. That because remember at that time slavery had different meanings. So you have to prove that you are the slave that came from Africa, because we all know it was slavery here in America, right? But slavery, once again, slavery does not mean what we think it means.
So we got to get that out of our heads that we were slaves, we was punks. No, when we had them guns, we went to war. My ancestors fought for your freedom. Even your ancestors.
Your ancestors fought for whose freedom? Did they fight for other people's freedom, or did they fight to take somebody's land? Because it was war from 1850 up until now. It's been war. So who became free? Who became free? Let me know this.
Fought for our freedom. Many of you who are in this chat has ancestors who fought for America. So anytime you hear somebody say, well, you from Africa, why don't you just go back to Africa? Well, we have right to America as well because our ancestors shed blood. You see,
Okay, so if you have rights in America and your ancestors shed blood and they were in wars, don't you think your ancestors would be against your talking points? Because if your ancestors came over here, then let's just say, right? Let's just say, right? Because this is the story that Africans sold out Africans. So if your ancestors came here and they end up getting rights, then wouldn't they loyalty be to the United States or the Americas? So if your ancestors was living today, then you would be going against your ancestors. See, you're not thinking. You're not thinking.
see what it says? Black Americans was for them to be allowed to fight and die for their freedom in their country. So this is our country just as much as it is the white man's, because we fought and died just as well as they did. Now this is my great grandfather. His name was John Seabury, and if you look at his World War I registration card, he was of African black. So this is my African ancestry.
What he said. Listen to what he said and look at the record. He said African black. He got black in parentheses. African black. So that means there is a what? African white. Read the records. See, once you start getting these records, the records start telling the truth. See, these Pan Africans and pro blacks, they hate the white man so much, but they don't want to admit that the white man is the African. He's the African getting the benefits. He's the African receiving the land, and you are that black African that's talking about reparations and shit like that. So once again, stop saying white people are not African when they are African in fact, indeed.
Because I'm not just going to talk, because a lot of so-called aboriginals, they talk but they never want to share the genealogy. It's just right. All talk.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna deal with the whole aboriginal thing or aborigine because there's confusion, and I have to understand that a lot of people who is claiming aboriginal and aborigine, they are confused. They confused as to they think that aboriginal or aborigine is an identity, and it's not, right? But we'll go into that in another video. But for him to say that, um, I don't know if I can agree with that at all. Matter of fact, let's replay it.
It's all talk. So a lot of so-called aboriginals, they talk, but they never want to share the genealogy. It's just right. All talk. It's all talk. So now I'm going to show you guys my genealogy.
He's wrong. There's a lot of us that do have our genealogy. At least the ones who claim to be Indians from this land. We do have our genealogy, and it's not no slight towards Aboriginal or Aborigines. A lot of Aboriginals or Aborigines just don't have their genealogy. So I don't know. He might be right. He might be wrong. I don't know. I can't speak for the Aborigines or the Aboriginals. What I can do is speak on behalf of Indians. You know what I'm saying? Bang out for the Indians because I know our talking points and I know what we bring to the table. So, I can let the Aborigines or Aboriginals deal with that themselves when he's saying stuff like this about them, right?
Now, this is for the doubters because I'm connected genetically with these people, right? This is his registration card. Now, this is another proof that we are not Indians. Now, this is, excuse me, this is from Black Indians.
This is not proof. Look at what he's showing us. Black Indians in the United States. This is for one, this is Wikipedia. For two, this is not no record. This is not no tribal record, right? So let's go back. Let me see. Did I go too far back? I think I did. Let me go forward. Let me see.
This is his registration card. Now, this is another proof that we are not Indians. Now, this is genetically with these people.
Oh, here we go.
Right? This is his registration genealogy. Now,
here we go. Okay. He's talking about this is his genealogy. And as you can see, he has not gone back past the 1900s. I don't think. No, you know what? 1900. I am right. Okay, he's showing us people who was born in the 1900s, right? And he's not showing us actual factual records of people in the 1800s. Because the further back you go, then you'll be able to see what tribes your family members is from. So just showing us people from the 1900s, this is not showing us. This is not proof of anything. But I mean, I'm quite sure the Aborigines or Aboriginals, they can show proof of this. Relatives that was born in the 1900s, But again, you're showing your grand aunt. You ain't showing your mama and daddy parents. You showing your grand aunt and who she might be connected to. So this is honestly not proof. It's not.
This is for the doubters because I'm connected genetically with these people, right? This is his registration card. Now, this is another proof that we are not Indians. Now, this is, excuse me, this is from Black Indians in the United States. And you see Mrs. Amos Chapman, her daughter, all Southern Cheyenne, and an unidentified girl of African American descent. So clearly, we are of African descent. It's too many sources for you to believe that. Now, this is from my census, 1880s. This
Wow.
is my fourth great grandfather. His name was Richard Reed, and his parents were born in Africa. His mother and father.
Hey, for a nigga that shows something like that, that's come on. That to show a picture that's not even a true picture and say those are the black Indians and we're African, that's a huge fail right there, boy. What are you talking about, boy? That's a fail, dog. Like, what are you smoking?
Smokers are jokers! Smokers are jokers!
One more time. One more time.
Smokers are jokers! Smokers are jokers!
I don't understand, dude. I really don't understand, bro. Like, are you angry? You so angry that you'll just show anything? Anything? Really? Wow, this shit's
You
crazy.
look mad. Let's start there.
Was born in Africa. So I'm giving you my genealogy. This is my second great grandfather. He fought in the Civil War. And the unit was the 686 USC Infantry, Mississippi, right? Now I'm connected genetically for the doubters. Now, this is from a book called Freedom by Sword. And let's talk about.
Let me stop it there. Okay. So, let's show who the real Negro and Africans are. Let's get it. Pretty much. Before I go ahead and share this information of white people being called Negro, right? Take the time out, like the video, share the video, because we're going to make change in this lifetime. The things we're about to do, we're making changes in this lifetime, right? So yeah, once again, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. Um, okay, so back to the education, right? On this image, this is my grandma Frony Lee. Many of us look at her and will say she's a white woman, right? We can all agree to that. She's a white woman. She got small lips, nose, look like a beak. She's a white woman, right? I love her. Love her to death. Because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be who I am. So it's very important for everyone to claim your ancestors, right? So behind Frony Lee, you have the 1930 United States Census, right? So on the census, when I scrolled further down, it says Frony Lee by the number 6. If you see the number 6, you can see Frony Lee. It says she's a Negro. Let me zoom in because remember, this is what I was saying too. You know, color. It says color of race, right? But from what the Pan African read, he said Negro, or should I say the definition he was trying to use for Negro, it said that Negro was not a noun until the 1930s, right? So, color of race for my great 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 grandmother, Frony Lee, it has her listed as a Negro. Let me zoom in. Frony Lee is a Negro and she's 68 years old. And underneath her is her son, which is, like my uncle, I believe. Yeah, it is. Uncle Clem, right? This is Uncle Clem. He was 33 at the time. So this white woman, along with other white people from the past, were being called Negroes. So when these Pan Africans talk about African descent, oh, are you talking about white people? Because white people that was coming over here, they were African descent. They were listed as African descent. See, Pan Africans, they don't believe in family. They don't believe in genealogy. They believe in racism and uniting based off of skin complexion. And I'm against that. I'm not linking up with nobody because of skin complexion. All skin folk ain't kin folk. I link up with like-minded people and with family. Or some family be fucked up. Yeah, that's true. Some family be fucked up. But at the end of the day, I would rather link up with family before I link up with a nigga with the ideology that all people with the same color skin go against those other people who don't have the same color skin. I don't believe in that. I'm not racist. I don't believe in racism. I'm not for that.